goodness.
You told me to wait, and you didn't even wait.
Sorry, guys. So right before we started this podcast, I was like, we need to clap and then wait for a second to start. And then I just did the thing I said not to do.
Oh,
But
we're already starting? All right.
anyways,
Hey, yo. What up, what up, what up, what up?
welcome to the Habitual Podcast.
He got it in.
welcome. My name is David Uceda.
And I'm Emily Uceda.
And we want to welcome you to this pod and our what is it?
Our hope. Wait. No. This podcast serves as a catalyst for your self-awareness.
That's right. Go on, baby. You got it.
Our hope and our goal is to point you back to Christ.
Always.
So don't get it twisted if we talk about him.
Don't get it twisted. All right.
Don't get it twisted.
It's what we do. We love talking about my man Jay. So I don't want to hear it. Not that we do hear it. I think Tommy kind of like now. I'm just like maybe I shouldn't say
ask,
that.
Like, is that a problem?
No. It's not a problem.
People are like hate mailing you. Like, stop talking about Jesus.
But the last time we had our pastors on here, and Tommy was like, "Are y'all having? Is there someone like reaching out to y'all?"
I feel like the New Yorker in him just like automatically is on the defense. So he's like, before I even say it, don't get it twisted.
So the very first time that we recorded, that is what came out, and I was like, I guess we sticking with it.
Yeah.
So guys, obviously we have special guests today.
Yes.
But first, I wanted to ask you, babe, how are you today?
I'm Gucci.
You Gucci?
I'm Gucci.
What'd you do today?
I called out from work.
Played hooky.
I played some. I had
Brian,
a Sabbath.
if you're listening.
Today was my Sabbath. He's not listening. He don't know anything about this. I keep it that way for a reason.
Until I tell him.
Right? The boss man.
But I took a day off. Let's see. I watched Twilight. I'm on Breaking Dawn Part 1 right now because it's ending soon.
I've never seen it.
No, you never seen it?
But I am team
It's hella demonic.
Jacob.
Yeah, there you go. It's not.
Ew, no, Jacob's a whiny baby.
Okay, I'm team Edward. I don't know the difference.
Edward.
I said Edward.
I want to share. Can I share something?
Yeah.
The highlight of my day today. It was so cute. So last night, my friend Elizabeth texted me, and she has 3 kids. And she was like, hey, by the way, I told the kids that after they finish their chores, you're going to come over and watch a movie with them. So, like, come over and watch a movie tomorrow. And I was like, okay, I'm the reward. So I loved that. Was like such a highlight of my day.
You got voluntold.
Yeah.
She was like, be there.
I have been summoned.
Well, because you're like basically their unannounced godmother.
Pretty much.
You know? So
I'm their mini.
Yeah. And then we live like 5 minutes from them. So it's
okay, fine. So it's not like
right.
And I'm
crazy.
so glad I did, because not only did I get to see the kids who are like the legit love of my life. Sorry, babe. But I saw baby kittens, and they were like 2 days old.
I want a baby kitten. She won't let me, though.
You want one?
No.
It's a lot.
She hates cats.
The distribution center is going to choose you one day.
Yo, for real.
Not hate.
We don't have
They
any
don't
pets.
like me. I don't like them.
What do you mean?
It's a mutual understanding.
I feel like if you raise them from a baby, though.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know, because I have chickens, and I literally raised them since they came out of the egg, and they don't let me hold them. They like freak out every time.
Yeah, I'm
just
scared
like,
of
I am your
chickens.
mother. Yeah.
Love me.
ADHD thought. I want to get to the point where we get sponsored by Celsius,
yeah, dude.
bro.
I'm
just have like all the flavors lined up.
He purposely shows his Celsius every episode.
I was wondering that because I saw a reel and I was like, and I see it today in person and I'm like,
see?
So you're doing something here.
Did it make you want to buy a Celsius?
Yeah, it did.
Not quite.
Okay.
But
It's working.
but it made me want to see you get sponsored.
You know what I'm saying? That'd be
So,
dope.
you know.
I'm saying.
So you hear that, Celsius?
And then like mid-episode, it'll just cut into us
ad
and be like, yep.
I wanna be
this
sponsored.
podcast is sponsored by
Celsius.
I want to be
Celsius.
sponsored by
Live
Chick-fil-A
Live
sweet
fit.
tea.
Fire.
by what?
Chick-fil-A sweet tea.
Chick-fil-A sweet tea. I bet Chick-fil-A will probably
Or
sponsor
Chicken
us.
Express. I feel like that's like the most southern. Like
I
if you
was
get
thinking
sponsored by Chicken Express.
Chicken Express is a
Like-
boo-boo waiting to happen. That's what that is.
No, facts. Every time I eat it, I'm definitely upset afterwards.
Straight up, somebody I know has some chicken E, ended up in the hospital.
Stop.
What?
I love Chicken Express.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Full
let's
context, he ate
Shout out
it
to
for like
Chicken
2 weeks.
Express.
Yo.
Oh my god.
Okay, let's introduce our guest.
Yes, so we want to welcome Jeriah and Destiny Garcia
Ooh.
to the pod.
Shout out to the government names.
You know what I'm saying?
We don't have our.
you hang.
Hey, girl, she gonna take my name, but
And-
not my dad. You feel me?
The thing it's on camera too, so
I'm like
Oh, man.
publicly humiliated.
What's up, fam? How y'all feeling?
What's up, man? Good.
So let's
Go
share
ahead.
the connection here.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Besides dressing the same,
The same color.
hat,
Know what I'm saying? Black
jewelry.
hat.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Crazy.
Right.
Okay, so basically, me and Mr. David here met at a podcast.
At a live podcast.
Yeah, and I don't
Yeah,
think either one of our podcasts had conspired at the moment.
Mm-mm.
I think mine was about to, or maybe had just started, but I don't think it did. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't remember timeline exactly.
I'm a plug Grace and Good Friends.
Yes,
Be sure to
Grace
go follow
and Good
them.
Friends. If you're listening to this, give us a follow, stream everything, especially the
Absolutely.
episode with David.
Yep.
Let's go.
But yeah, so we were at a place in Fort Worth called the Launch Box with a gentleman named
Zach Rippey.
Zach Rippey, yep. And he was doing a live audience type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I was just there working, doing what I do vocationally for a living. And David was a guest speaker that night.
Somewhat.
Something like
Ish.
that. Yeah.
Like in the audience speaker.
Yeah, like a share your
It was
testimony.
like a plan. Like, is there someone who wants to? How about you, young man?
Bro, I've
Me?
always wanted to be a planted audience.
Right.
But it was cool because you happened to be right next to where I was posted up.
True. Yeah.
And so yeah, heard your story. It was super I don't want to say like powerful or anything too cliche, but it was just organic.
Yeah.
And it was powerful, don't get me wrong. But like
Dope.
it obviously was enough to draw me to you to introduce myself afterwards.
Right.
Dude, we met up
And
for
then we
coffee a
clicked-
few times
Yep.
and the rest is history.
Mhm.
Click from
They have a
there.
song together.
Oh, we have a
actually.
song together,
and
bro.
I'm saying
Yeah.
alto.
Let's play it right now.
No,
Let's
Hey,
live-
I'ma do
a
it.
listening party.
Let's live
no,
stream it.
Don't do that, baby.
Why not?
Ain't nobody got time for that right now.
Hey, can we use
You're on
that
a
as
pod.
the music, like the background music
Oh.
of this episode?
No.
No.
Hey,
Absolutely.
nah, next time.
Yeah,
What we'll
right.
do, I'll Bluetooth. We can actually send it through the mix because that mixer takes Bluetooth, dude.
Yo, it does.
Yeah, so you could do like live calls. Y'all can do all kinds of cool stuff.
I feel like they could nerd out this whole time and like forget that we're here.
Probably.
But am I going to let that happen? No, absolutely not.
You're gonna bring us back.
So,
Keep it-
Destiny, tell us about yourself.
Oh no.
I know that question. You're like, who am I?
Who am
Who
I?
am I?
What's
So,
my name?
where did you grow up? That kind of stuff.
Okay. I mean, I basically grew up in Fort Worth. But I was born in Odessa. Mainly my family lives there. But my mom and my
There is
grandma.
nothing up there.
Yeah, it's pretty dead. Yeah. Nothing fun over there.
Texas, baby.
Yeah, I love Fort Worth. So
Mhm.
that's where we're staying.
Funky
But yeah,
town.
yes,
Fort Worth
for
is
sure.
vibe.
Yeah.
So, how long have y'all been married?
2 years. We just celebrated our 2-year anniversary.
Let's go.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's
in May.
amazing.
Why
Yeah.
did I think that y'all have been married longer than us?
It's our aura.
Yeah,
No,
it
no,
is.
no.
Y'all
I'm
have
saying.
like old married couple vibes.
Do we?
Yeah,
That's
but
awesome.
like in a good
In
way.
a good way.
Okay.
No,
like
I took
the
it good way.
like the chemistry has been like building for years.
Well, we were thinking about this the other day. I mentioned it to Destiny. This upcoming New Year's will be our 6th New Year's Eve together.
Oh wow.
That's dope.
So
man.
that's kind of a
Yeah.
lot. Kind
It
of.
doesn't seem like
It doesn't
that
seem
long.
like it though.
So y'all have been together for a while. You just married the past 2.
For a hot minute.
yeah, but our togetherness was a little rocky.
Was it?
Yeah. So for the first like 2.5 years
Uh-huh.
of dating, we were not very consistent.
Mhm.
So I was just like, I wasn't ready to commit. You know, from the jump, she knew what she wanted, but I was like,
Maturing.
yeah, definitely. But yeah,
I'm
we
still working on this one over
ended up-
here.
yeah, it's a journey for sure.
He's 33. He's still ain't there, honey. I'm just kidding. I'm
we
kidding.
yeah, through the ups and downs, we found ourselves at the altar, and the rest
We
was
did.
history.
Aw, kiss, 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 kiss.
No.
I'm just kidding. You don't have to kiss.
But-
me.
But we wanted to bring y'all on because I've just always thought about bringing y'all on.
Yeah,
We've talked about it before too,
for
and,
sure.
And I think I was kind of like, man, we haven't had a guest in a hot minute. So
When was your last guest?
our last guest was like,
Tommy and Denora probably 3-4 weeks ago.
yeah, 3-4 weeks ago.
I'm excited to have y'all on because first off, I've never met you.
Yeah.
Which, funny story.
I met you once. I was buying some cookies off of you.
I was going to say, I was actually able to try your chocolate chip cookies before I even met you in
that's
person.
so funny.
So thank you.
Thank you.
So I was excited to get
She
to know you
experienced
better.
your gifts before she experienced
That's
your
right.
presence.
That's right.
Baby, your baking has made an impact.
Those fruits,
We're
you
here.
know.
Yeah.
Or instead of fruit, shall we say cookies?
Cookies, yeah.
And then Jeriah, I've been around you a few times. But I feel like that has been kind of y'all's space, and I've
Right.
just been like the tag along.
Right.
So like I'm excited to actually sit down with y'all.
Yeah, no, likewise. One of the things we kind of talked about, and I told Destiny, was like, for me, kind of just what I do, like with my life and free time and in general, I'm just super excited to be here with her, to be here with my wife. Like that y'all would consider inviting both of us. It's like a big deal because, you know, like I'm the one that makes music. I'm the one that has a podcast, and she supports those things wholeheartedly and is an amazing, like, supporting wife in that. But there hasn't been much outside of like family related things that we do together.
Right.
So we're like really excited just to be here.
We actually
together.
invited her first. And no.
You're actually taking up her time?
Yeah.
Destiny, go ahead.
We were
I'm
like,
just kidding.
What's your credit score?
Get out of here. But we're so glad y'all are
we
here.
were like, this is cool.
Yeah.
You know, this is really cool.
It was so funny because y'all walked in and you're like, hey, what are we talking about tonight? What are we doing? And so we're just like, well, wherever the wind takes us.
I do want to say though, I think sometimes we take it for granted to support somebody is a gift. Like that doesn't, it's not something that I mean, obviously, and I'm not saying that you do this, but it's definitely something that I think us as husbands that are natural creatives and we're always investing our hands in a lot of things that we don't realize that our wives, the ability to support us in the way of like being there emotionally, invested emotionally, financially at some points too. 'Cause she's my sugar mama. And
same. Shout out to all the sugar mamas.
I'm saying, but it's,
I mean,
but it's a gift because it takes patience, you know, it takes grace, you know, and sometimes that takes time away. I feel like because we're creatives, it also, we're so invested in our craft that sometimes that takes us away from our marriages from time to time, you know? And so shout out to y'all wives.
Shout out to the supporting wives out there. No, like, and another thing, like take it a step further, like it's one thing for that support. I mean, it's really commendable because she's not just supporting me in a way that she's knows how. She's doing what she can to support me in a way that I can receive it. Because there might be times where she's like, well, I'm supporting you, I'm doing this. And I could be stubborn about it and be like, well, I don't feel supported. So then what does she do? She responds and is like, okay, what's in a way I can make an effort to like make you feel supported?
Oh,
and
wow.
So there's like layers to like that support. So I'm definitely grateful for that.
Yeah.
and I will say too, I feel, because there are times where I'm like, David's getting to do all the things. What am I, you know, like, when is it my turn to do the things?
Yeah.
And I think you've been really great at also like giving me space, you know, to like do, and being so encouraging of like, you should try to do this or do that, you know, and like find other avenues.
Yeah.
You know, to where I'm not feeling like left behind. Like I'm just like and there's nothing wrong at all with being like stay-at-home mom, housewife, you know, but I also know that I have just like
something in you to give, to offer.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to be overshadowed, you know, and I'm an only child, okay? So I'm like, look at me, look at, you know, like, look at me.
Yep.
This man's
Yo, when we first,
but David does a really good job of like letting me know that I'm his equal.
Yes,
you know,
for
and
sure.
in turn, that's like, all right, honey, you pay all the bills, you make all the big decisions. You know, like
it's a good balance.
Yes, and you know, I was very independent before me and David met. I still can be sometimes. You know, I say me instead of we all the time, and David's like, we've been married almost 4 years. You need to cut that out. But I feel like being married to someone who supports you in that way lets me ease into just being taken care of too. You know, and like that's a nice thing to feel.
Yeah.
You know, of like, okay, I can chill if I want to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Definitely a big learning curve that took place. Like, and I feel like most couples probably experience this maybe the roles are reversed too. I have some friends where, like, for example, the wife is the one that's a little more creative or a little more ambitious, and it's kind of funny, right? How like opposites attract. But it being Christian, you know, we always have God to like involve in that learning process. But it's definitely difficult, and we've come a long way. Like, this is like so embarrassing. It's like a story.
No.
Of, like,
Say it.
Well, it's not like that embarrassing, but
Spill
like
it.
there was like when we were dating, we had bought like Hillsong worship concert tickets, and so one night. No, and this
I
is
don't
just
like this story.
this is just like a testament to like how far we've come.
Yeah.
But like the night before the concert, I had gotten a text from a youth pastor, and this was right when I started like making music and putting myself out there. And he's like, "Hey, can you come perform tomorrow? Like paid gig," and that's a hungry artist's like dream.
Right.
Like, yes, I'm there. Like nothing else matters. Regular job doesn't matter. Mom's birthday doesn't matter.
Oof.
Hillsong worship concert with girlfriend doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh boy.
you know what I mean? And so, but we were at Sonic. Shout out to Sonic. We love Sonic.
Us
I
too.
do.
Oh my gosh, you're going all the way, every detail.
Hey, I'm trying to let them experience it.
Vulnerability.
Hey,
right?
when we first started dating, it was Sonic dates.
Yeah,
So shout
it-
out to Sonic.
yeah,
we
shout
might
out
get
to-
sponsored by
We
Sonic
might
too.
go to Sonic.
Might have
after
like a
this.
burger on one side and a chicken sandwich on the other.
Tots and a
know what I'm
slushie.
saying?
Get you
Okay,
right.
keep going. Keep
Sorry.
going.
So I'm
ADHD,
like,
I apologize.
so I'm like, babe, I gotta go, and she's like, what were you like, baby? I don't
Probably
want.
how you were gonna describe.
And she was like very upset. She
Yeah.
was like, no,
Yeah.
why would you go? And so it was this huge clash of like my mindset that's like, why can you not understand that this is my dream, right? At the time, like that's
Yeah.
all-
So
which-
dramatic.
Yeah, so dramatic. And then her being like, why can you not commit to these plans? You know, and in both of our minds, we're both 100% right. And in both of our minds, both perspectives are like the most important thing.
Yeah, they're both valid feelings.
Yeah. But it was like learning how to manage those feelings and communicate them. I mean, okay. What did they call it? Spoiler alert, we went to the concert.
Yeah, I bet you did.
But you know, that was, I always remember, and then like even seasons after that, it was a big deal of like me bringing that up in arguments, and like then we had to learn to stop doing that, you know, like
Yeah.
so it's like we've had phases in this marriage, but
Yeah.
it's
So
been
we
interesting.
definitely came
Yeah.
a long way.
Yeah.
It's a
For
push
sure.
and pull.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a dance you have to do, and I feel like there's, for spouses, I feel like one of them grows, the other one supports, and then the other grows,
Yeah,
the
it's
other
kind of like
supports.
seasons.
So it's like you kind of take turns, you know, and if
Yeah.
you realize that you've been the taker for years,
Yeah.
there's probably some conflict there
Yeah.
that's not being talked about,
Yeah.
you know, or some resentment building,
Yeah.
you know. I want to like, go back. Tell me about baby Destiny and baby Jeriah. I want to hear y'all's upbringings and different things that y'all have gone through individually.
You first, babe.
Okay. So, my mom is basically a single mom for, like, I would say the majority of like my upbringing. So her and my biological dad, which I say that now because I don't really consider him my dad, but that was a whole thing. But they separated, and that's when we moved to Fort Worth, and I would see him like maybe a month every summer. And then he just kind of stopped coming around. I kind of stopped going, and we just kind of lost communication. And then my mom got with my stepdad, and he basically is the one that kind of raised me. And then they ended up getting a divorce, and then she stayed single for a long period of time. But for the most part, it was just me, her, and my brother and sister. So it was just us, and she was doing everything. I don't know how. Because looking back at it, I tell him, I'm like, I don't know how my mom had gifts under the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Wow.
know how she went to work and then still went to school and then still had us. And so it just, like, doesn't make sense how she, like, did it all. So
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
talking
You
about
said it
gets
was
me
you
emotional.
and like 2 siblings?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just crazy, like, I don't know. She did everything for us, everything that she could. So
Yeah.
I'm very grateful. And it's
So-
made me who I am today.
I know you had mentioned grandparents at one point, like your grandma had lived in Midland
Oh, so
or Odessa, sorry.
Yeah. So it's, I would say, yeah. So my biological dad's family is in Odessa, and then my grandma's side is also in Odessa too.
Okay.
So yeah,
Which
I
is-
go over there sometimes.
So
to see that side of the
totally
family.
crazy question,
Uh-huh.
but who walked you down the aisle?
Oh, my mom.
That's beautiful. I mean, she be
That's awesome.
dadding.
Yeah,
Right?
she was. Yeah,
She be momming and dadding
she
out
did
there.
everything for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was harder, you think? Your dad leaving
Mm-hmm.
or your stepdad leaving?
Mm.
I don't think I've ever really thought about it like that.
What's
don't
your
know.
like first gut?
Probably my stepdad because he
You feel
kind of
like-
raised me.
Yeah.
I didn't really have that relationship with my dad, so
Yeah.
it was never really like a hard feeling. Like I can
Mhm.
truly say like it doesn't bother me, and some people are like, "Well, does it really not bother you?" And I'm like, "No, it really doesn't." I think
Yeah.
because I
That's
never
kind of
had
annoying.
that connect. Yeah, and I never had that connection either. I'm like, it's really nothing deeper than that
Mhm.
for me, and I feel like if there was, then I would have already dealt with that.
sure.
Right.
But I don't have any hard feelings. You did
Mhm.
what you did. You have your own family. My mom took care of me the best of her abilities. Like I'm
Mhm.
good. Like even with my heart posture towards
Yeah.
that. So I'm like, I'm okay.
That's
but I
beautiful.
would say maybe my stepdad because he raised me for
Yeah.
the majority of my life.
Is there any communication there now?
With my stepdad, yeah. Every now and then we
Oh,
connect.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
yeah.
nice.
So that's my brother and sister's dad.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like the only
yeah.
one from my mom and my biological dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Oh,
a
that's
rare.
cool.
She's a rare breed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real. There was
You give
101.
me older sibling energy.
Yeah,
Are
probably.
you the
Super.
oldest?
Yeah,
the
yeah,
oldest?
yeah.
Yep.
I am.
Just
Yeah.
like that composure.
She is. Yeah.
But that's cool.
Yeah.
So
I did want to so there was something that when you were talking before, there's something that just kept screaming at me. It was your response when he was saying, I gotta go, I gotta take this gig. And you
Mhm.
were like, you need to commit yourself to the plans that you had already said yes to.
Uh-huh.
That kept screaming at me
Yeah.
because I feel like that response, it's a very mature response.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it might have come from a place of where you might have seen where things like that were very inconsistent.
Yeah, it's probably a lack of not ever seeing that.
Of not-
So
right.
wanting that.
Yeah.
and you had a
longing for that.
standard.
That commitment
Yeah.
that, if your word needs to mean something,
Yeah.
and that kept screaming at me because it's not very common you'd be surprised how there's a lot of people that will just be like, okay, go, but we're done.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Bro.
people that will
No, yeah, they
be
don't
straight
take
up
care.
like
Yeah,
that.
they don't deal with any of
Mhm.
it.
They
yeah.
don't deal with it, but you
Yeah.
chose to be like, but you chose to say, I understand your feelings are valid, but you committed yourself to these plans and you
Yeah.
need to see them through.
Yeah.
And I think that response usually stems from a place of like, you've seen it and you're like, nah,
Yeah.
I don't do that.
That-
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good point.
You
That
know,
could
and
be.
so
No,
I
that was
just,
very much a thing with, I'll be there. I'll be
Mhm.
at this birthday party. I'll be at your graduation.
Yeah.
I'll be
Mhm.
at this. I'll be at that. And I'm like, I don't even care anymore.
yeah,
Because
for
I know
sure.
you're not going to be there. So
For
it really
sure.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. And
But yeah.
But I think a beautiful thing is, it has shaped you for your future or for your marriage, right?
Yeah.
And for the standard that you have for yourself.
Yeah.
Of
'Cause I-
like,
yeah.
I'm going to be married to someone that keeps his commitments.
Yeah.
So it's like the Lord used it for good,
Yeah.
know? And so that's pretty
Yo,
cool.
that was deep.
That's-
Because
We
I
never
think
really
it can
thought of
go
it that way.
two
Yeah.
ways of like, or coming from like a broken home of like, I don't know my worth and still never knowing their worth and I don't know, ending up with the wrong guys over and over and over in that horrible
Absolutely.
cycle. So I'm so grateful that God
yeah.
showed me who I was in Him from the moment I was
That's dope.
young. Because then I'm like, no, I don't. Even though we've gone through a lot,
right.
at the core, I'm like, if it ever got to this point, I'm out. So I feel like God was definitely walking.
You
through-
hear that?
Walking
Do you hear
through.
that?
It's like
Because there was a time where I was like,
No,
either
yeah,
you're
for
in or
sure.
you're out, but I gotta go. I'm not
Yeah.
doing this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely was. I definitely gave a lot of grace, probably way too much grace, but
Yeah.
I was very forgiving for a lot just because of the grace that God has shown me.
It's beautiful.
Mhm.
So yeah, I feel like it definitely could go two ways, and I'm
Yeah.
thankful that God's kept me by
it went
His
the
side.
one.
Yeah, of like knowing,
One
like
way.
yeah,
Yeah. Because like
For
I
sure.
said, like that's a very mature response. Like that's
Mhm.
not to me in my experience, it's not a very common response.
Yeah.
And I come from a very dysfunctional family,
hmm
and sometimes if somebody in my family told me I'm gonna do this for you and never came through,
hmm
like their word means absolutely nothing to
Yeah.
me,
Right.
Yeah.
especially as a child, right?
Yeah.
So
And
it's
that's
like
a sad place to be.
and-
You don't
and-
want to be there.
no,
you know?
absolutely not. But it's just, I think it's the reality of life that, like I remember as a kid when my dad would promise me something, I would keep bugging him because I need to see that thing through.
Yeah.
Not knowing,
Right.
right? I'm 6, 7 years old, but not knowing how much promises mean something,
Yeah.
Mm.
you know, and how much a man's word
Yeah. The word.
is really where the integrity lies.
Yeah.
Is can I trust what you tell me?
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of like what we've kind of navigated recently of just like me breaking your trust because of the choices that I made. And I'm sitting here having a conversation with myself, like, okay, moving forward, am I going to work towards making my word mean something?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because it's got to mean something, because it's all a man has
Yeah.
Yeah.
at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you know? And so I just, I guess all in all, I just appreciated that response
Mm-hmm.
because I think it just shows a sense of maturity.
Yeah.
It shows character too. And I think that whether we like to admit it or not as husbands, that molds us
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
into the men that we could potentially become,
Yeah.
you know, when our wives help us, you know, like make sure that our word means something.
Yeah.
Well, it
So-
definitely, shook me up in like the terms of like, what the heck, Like
Yeah.
at first I was so upset, dramatic, like we said, like
Yeah.
what the heck, like why would you like this is not and it's crazy because I always lean on the excuse of like my work, like my work is the same way, I'm a contract worker and sometimes and I work in the events industry, so like sometimes I get calls an hour before the job.
Mm,
And, being a single person, I was kind of trained like, boom, I'm there.
Right.
Let's go. Like, it's
Absolutely.
cool. Like, I got nothing else to worry about. But that example for us and then moving forward through everything in our marriage is just like, kind of like you said, molded me and gave me a checkpoint to like her standard
mm.
of like, oh, shoot, it's not just me. I have other people's feelings. Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
I have other people's feelings. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
But like seriously, to be concerned about and to
Yeah.
reference before making my decisions
Yeah.
and like stuff
I
like
always
that.
ask David, like whenever he comes to me about gigs, I'm like, my first question is what?
Check the calendar.
Yep. Check the calendar.
Check the calendar.
Check the calendar.
Because I mean,
you have to.
well, and I think the other thing too is just that's what I've learned. Like,
Yeah.
like as a single dude, I would cancel if I get a call because I've always been a drummer, and so I'd get calls last minute too.
Yeah,
We got this artist coming through town, and
you need a drummer.
the drummer didn't pop up. Can you come through? And I've always been like, yeah, because I've always been a single dude.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had other prior, like if I had a prior engagement, I would just cancel it to go.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it didn't. I didn't care.
Yeah.
And so now I feel like now I'm in the same place
It
of what you're
takes-
saying.
yeah, it's
of
just-
just
it's-
like
Big learning curve.
I have to consider everything
Yeah.
because if I'm not consistently showing up, eventually she's gonna be like Chris Brown, deuces.
Chunking up the
Yeah.
deuces.
I'm
I
saying.
feel like it's definitely we've learned.
So much.
Finally, we're at a balance of like.
Well, we're still working on it.
For
I
sure.
wouldn't
For sure.
speak from a
But
place of like we
way
got it
better.
figured out.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we'll ever have it figured out.
But like
But we're still constantly.
can look
growing.
back.
Yeah, you're on some pretty
Yeah.
ground, like a firm foundation.
trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
For sure.
And it's been a big. I think the biggest thing is communication, and that
Absolutely.
it took sacrifice from both of us.
Yeah.
So like it took sacrifice of her like not always getting what she wants in the sense of like sometimes on a Friday night I might work from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. On Friday night she just worked her Monday through Friday 9 to 5, so she wants to be in bed cuddled up with me. That's a want, and some nights depending on the circumstance it may not happen. Me, I want to provide for us and to work as much as possible, keep learning in my industry, learning in my field. So I'm going to want to take as many gigs as I can. But if she has a family event that she wants me there, maybe I can't take every gig. So it's like just been, I know it sounds like cliche or like cheesy, but just a little bit of sacrifice from both of us has really
Yeah.
gone a long way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we try not to like count, score,
Yeah,
but it
for sure.
happens sometimes, but
But you give each other grace,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Which
Yeah.
I feel like that's one thing that we've learned in our marriage is most marriages fail due to unmet expectations.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right?
facts.
So like we've heard it before. It's not that he was a terrible dad. It's that the expectation of how she viewed him, how she should be as a dad, is the reason why. You know, he's terrible with money. It's not that he's terrible with money, it's the expectation that you had on him. And it was never communicated.
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
so
this man preaching right
that's
now.
why communication is like so important, you
Yeah.
know, because then we are able to understand our expectations of one another.
Yeah.
And at the same time, when those expectations are not met, that's why grace is so important, because then like our pastor, I think to me that was the greatest advice that we got in marriage is build your marriage on grace, because there's going to be a lot of times where expectations are not met, and you need to have grace for one another to get through it.
Yeah.
You know,
And
so-
also like having a level of self-awareness to even know what expectations you have of the other person.
Yeah.
You know, like, because I think our experiences shape our expectations,
Ooh,
just like with
absolutely.
you,
Facts.
you know,
Yeah.
but a lot of times if you're not aware of that, you can be placing that on someone else and not even speaking it to them.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and then they're just failing.
Yeah.
And
So
you're-
I
go ahead.
I think the good thing is to realize what expectations they are,
Yeah.
and then if they're realistic or not.
Yeah.
You know, because if they're not realistic, you just got to let it go.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
if they are realistic and, you know, not absurd, then that like so the expectation
Am I
putting events in the calendar, you know, is
Yeah.
an expectation.
Yeah.
You know, if I wouldn't have spoken that, I couldn't get mad at him for
For not
not
doing
putting
it.
stuff in there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like just little
it's
logistical
always,
things.
It's
Yeah.
always the little stuff.
It's
No,
always
and
the
that's the
little
reason I
stuff,
was just
bro.
chuckling a few moments ago, because I'll never forget to this one time.
my man got all the stories.
He's about to pull out the receipts.
I came to-
honey, dude.
Yeah, he is.
No, but seriously, because these were like.
We love vulnerability in the
correct
stories.
me if I'm wrong though, and I'm not even like putting my wife out there like
Yeah,
that, because it was like, I mean, I was being lazy. I'll just preface the whole story with that, but like it reminded me, like this is just perfect. So like one day it's a Saturday, and sometimes, not all the time, we try to like do like chores together on Saturdays for like in the morning, and this is at our duplex, and the first place, not where we live now. And Destiny was like, "Hey, can you take the clothes out of the dryer and fold it?" And I was like, "Yup, done. Consider it done." But anyways, I didn't do it like right away, I guess. That was my perspective. And she just starts ripping clothes out of the dryer. And you know, to me, I'm like, "Dang, girl, you crazy. Like what is this behavior about? Like, give me 30 more seconds." But to her, it was like, "Dude, I asked you to do something.
Yeah.
Why are you?" So it's like, again, both of right to in that situation, both of our priorities or perspectives were 100% valid, but it was never communicated. So it led to an unexpected an unmet expectation, which led to a clash.
And on your behalf, by the time you asked him to do it, you had probably wanted him to step up and do it.
She
Yeah,
thought
for
it
a
should have
while.
already been done.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know?
I shouldn't have
1000%.
had to ask you to do it.
Uh-huh.
Well,
yeah.
But we come with those expectations of like, you should just know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Should know.
that's also,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm like, should
Yeah.
I?
So we
Sure.
call that
Yeah.
I identify that
not so
as
much. Lots of grace.
so I identify that as having a sense of urgency. Like if I ask you to do something, it's because it's that important to me, and so you need to respond to it. And we do that to each other a lot of times. You'll ask me to do something, and I take too long, so then you end up
I'll
doing
huff and puff and I'll go do it myself.
And then
all the time.
and
all
vice
the time.
versa. I'll ask for something, and you might take, and it's not even like something that you take forever to do. You might literally be having 4 things in your hands, and because you didn't do it within 30 seconds of when I wanted it done, I'm just like, I'll just do it myself. And it's just like, I'm like, and I'll catch myself, and I'm like, why do I keep doing that?
Yeah.
That's hella annoying.
Yeah.
But I do know something that I feel like, and we're kind of external processors, so
Yeah.
I feel like we're realizing some of this stuff while we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Wait, expand on that term real quick so I can understand what you
So
mean.
like verbally processing,
Got you. So,
you know, and
Like
so
as we talk and
so it
break
might
things
come
down.
to when it comes out.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
Okay.
But I realized something that we have started doing is like the other night we had dishes in our room, and you were like, "Hey, do you think you could do those dishes tomorrow?" You know, and so it's like the whole day. I'm like, if I can't do this tomorrow, I got a problem, you know?
Yeah.
And so just like things that are urgent, like saying like pretty quick, and things that can wait, like identifying
Like
this
over
can wait,
communicating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but just like within the next few days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I did get really mad at you the other day. And then the bad thing about living with my parents is my dad comes in, you know, and like does what I've been asking David to do.
That's like double trouble for you.
So I have needed new
Is that
water.
retirement life? What? I'm sorry.
Hey, get out of here! Not anymore. I have needed my
No, my
windshield
man,
wiper.
he works circles around me, bro.
Oh,
That
yeah.
man's like in his 70s, and he works
Oh yeah,
harder than I do.
For real?
my dad.
I'll find him on the roof. I'll pull up to the house, and he's up on the roof
Like-
with a big old sheet of metal, just drilling it down.
Just killing it.
And all he
He
asked
is-
me is, grab that stick and hold that edge for me. And I'm like, okay, and I'll hold it. He's like, you're not, no, just put
He's
it
like,
down.
never mind.
It's fine.
Yeah,
Just go,
pretty much.
Just go attend
One
your
time-
chihuahua.
One time, my dad looked at David and he was like, "You know what? At least she can sing."
Let's go. You better sing
Yo,
every
you
night.
straight up said that to me. Yeah, that's
But
my
there
love
was,
language is roasting. So if something's funny, I'm gonna laugh
gonna-
at it because it's hilarious.
At least you
but
can sing.
so with the windshield wiper, it was like, blop, 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 you know, like it was just awful.
Oh, we still haven't replaced it.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you, babe, my dad did the
Oh,
other
he
day.
replaced it. Oh, I wonder
Finally.
why I didn't find that in the car.
After like 2 months of having the new wiper
And it's
blade.
raining a lot right now.
Yes.
It's raining a lot.
And I kept asking him over and over and over, and you weren't doing it.
True.
And so Ronnie
It's very true.
Miller
Even though it's
came
been sitting there for
through.
2 months and you're off on Wednesdays. Very true.
It's a boy thing. It's a boy thing.
I'm
okay?
just playing. No, you're right. You're
It's
right.
a boy thing.
You're right.
But anyways, Ronnie Miller comes through.
Welcome to
and
the
changes-
habitual podcast. People.
Yeah.
We get
Or
it out.
like
We let it
whenever
out.
it's like kind of funny now, but whenever I'm just gonna like trauma dump. But whenever I found that porn on your phone,
Yeah.
I was like, "Take me home now, or my dad is coming to pick me up."
She
Like-
should have said that. She's like, matter of fact, and she like swung the door open.
I was like, "I'm getting out right,"
You were
and
in the
it's
car?
like it's like raining, and he's like, "Where are you gonna go?" And I'm like, "Anywhere but here.
Well, she's
I'm gonna call my dad to pick me up."
all right. This is my thought process. I'm a minority. She's white. She's out here crying emotional. I'm scared for my life.
Bro.
I don't need a cop coming through and seeing a minority
that.
and seeing that whole thing and be like, what's going on here?
I've never heard you beg me to stay in the car
Be like,
more
yo,
than
yo, yo,
you
chill,
did.
chill, chill. I was like, chill. I don't need ICE driving through. We already got, I'm
was
saying
like,
we got riots right now.
Take,
No, facts.
but you are a U.S. citizen, okay?
I am a
You need
US
to not
citizen.
you
That's
need to not drop stuff like that on
That's
the
right.
podcast.
The stars
you
at
were
night
born,
are big and bright. That's
you
right.
were born in America,
That's
okay?
facts.
Yes.
That's facts.
Disclaimer. He's
Yeah.
a citizen.
Please don't come
But
for my husband.
I'm just
But-
writing. I'm just writing on other people's pain.
But
That's
still a
what it is.
minority. A minority.
I'm saying.
Okay, all right. Jeriah.
Yo, that's my name.
Who is baby Jeriah? Tell me,
It's a weird question.
I heard that, yeah, but I heard that you have quite the story.
Do I? Oh, I'm just kidding.
I did. So we want to hear it, all of it, the nitty gritty.
Yeah. No,
And then also we'll go to how y'all met.
heck yeah.
But you first.
So, man, also born in West Texas, Abilene. Shout out 325.
Ain't nothing in that.
Ugh.
Yeah,
know what I
nothing
mean?
at all.
You know what we do out there, baby? Nothing.
Yeah, I told her one time, I was like, let's take a weekend and let's go stay in Abilene. And she's like, what are we gonna do in Abilene? Because I go to Abilene a lot for work, so that's
Uh,
why.
Okay.
The zoo's
Fine.
pretty fire, dude.
You know what I'm saying.
But it ain't got nothing on the Fort Worth Zoo.
Right?
You know what I mean?
You've never even gone.
I've never been, but
It's
I
like
do
number
know-
one in
yeah,
the U.S.
that's
or
what I
well,
know.
under San Diego Zoo, I think. But
San Diego always gets us.
I'll take
San
you.
Diego Zoo, it's like almost $100 to get in there.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like $64
How much is the
or
Fort Worth?
something. Like 8.
Oh yeah, that's way more in the budget.
Okay.
So I grew up in Abilene. Similar story, but not really. But parents got divorced. Yeah,
Not
not
at
really
all.
at all. Okay, similar in that way. Now everything else moving forward, unsimilar.
Yeah.
But parents got divorced, and we moved to DFW, Arlington, and pretty straight edge kid, young buck here, young baby Jay.
Young Thundercat.
Yeah. My mom did her best. You know, she kept us in church. Me and my sisters in youth groups and all that good stuff. Yeah, like in 8th grade, I remember I was actually like taking my Bible to school at the time. But anyways, dude, slowly, like one thing led to another. And my oldest sister actually kind of was the first of us, I think. I say I think because it low-key might have been my little sister, which is so like sleeper surprising. but she had her own. You know how the youngest one just is like nobody really knows, you know.
Mhm.
But anyways, I think it was my oldest sister. She's kind of like the first one to like, I guess, go off track, if you will. Which, granted, no, I don't blame her for that or anything or hold her that against her, because at the time too, so dad's completely out of the picture. I didn't realize this, obviously, at the time. I was like 10, maybe 13 years old, somewhere in between there. But my mom was also going through a lot, you know, being in a divorce, just uprooting her family, moving us to a new city. I don't know, I guess at the time, what I expected from her. But all I know is, like, looking back, she was definitely going through some things. So that happening, I guess, slowly, one way or another. Anyways, next thing I know, me and all three of my sisters are just up to no good. Oldest sister gets pregnant at 16, maybe like 16, almost 17. My youngest sister, I think, was like in the 6th or 7th grade, like the first time she started smoking, which is so crazy because I didn't know this again until like 10 years later. Like, because we were all just like living our own lives.
Yeah.
But of course, following in suit of the sibling routine, I was doing my own thing as well. Around like 8th grade is when it started. So I started like drinking and drinking alcohol, doing alcohol, the alk baby, drinking, smoking, and it was really cool. I really, really liked it. It felt good to be the bad boy, because I was, a year before that, I was taking my Bible to school, and that wasn't cool at all. People would literally make fun of me, you know, so I was enjoying this, to be completely honest. And so in high school, around the 10th grade, so after a year of just like drinking and smoking, it kind of ramped up. Started doing pills like Xanaxes, ecstasy. Got me like, you know, a girlfriend. Started selling weed. I thought like life was great, you know. Meanwhile, at home, like, house was always messy. I didn't know at the time, but like sisters are like, you know, going through trauma as well. Like mom, I don't even know what she was doing, to be honest, but not really being a mom, obviously, right? Like all three of her kids are like losing it, but we didn't know. I disguised it with coolness. But anyways, that happened. But even throughout all that, I was able to maintain like good grades. So I got a scholarship to the University of North Texas. I graduated top 10% of my class. And I took pride in that too, to be honest. Like, you know, just talk about pride. Like I was like, dude, I'm the ish, you know, I sell weed. I'm in orchestra. My girlfriend's hot. I do drugs and I make good grades. What's up? You know, like it felt like really cool, if I'm being honest. A couple years into college, it all like really crashed down on me. The drug use got worse. I started doing psychedelics. And basically, long story short, this is where it all turned around. In a matter of 10 days, I totaled my car, got fired from both of my jobs. The girl I had been with for 5 years at the time broke up with me. I got evicted from my apartment. And the icing on the cake was I got jumped, and I don't remember it because I was blacked out. So I woke up one morning, my right ear was like out here. For about 4 days, it literally felt like a brick was duct taped to my head. Like that's how
crazy.
It was wild. My belly was all bruised up. My eye was like bruised shut. I just remember looking in the mirror, crying, and like realizing that something had to change. So that started my new life. It still took a few weeks. That was right when I got evicted. I went to go crash on my mom's couch for a little bit, and I was still partying, dude, from the couch. Like that's how bad pride had me. Like I was like, dude, I'm gonna party all night. One time I came home at 7 a.m. She had all my stuff in a trash bag, which wasn't much. It's like clothes, you know, maybe an iPhone charger. She was like, I'm either taking you to rehab today or you're getting out of my house. So I went to rehab, Christian men's home in Fort Worth called the Victory Home. And it's a 6-month program.
The bread?
Yeah, banana bread.
Yeah, I love that bread.
Heck yeah, shout out to the banana bread for real. And they also sell freeze-dried candies now.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Every
Homemade.
time I see him at the gas station, I'm like, do I have cash? Oh my gosh,
Yes.
I need some bread.
Hey, I was slinging that bread for real for like what ended up being 4 years almost.
Wow.
I stayed in the men's home.
I've never tried the bread.
Wow. You haven't?
I've never tried it because
Oh, you
I don't
gotta
carry
get
cash
it.
and they don't take Bitcoin, so I don't.
Take Bitcoin. Get out of
You gotta
here.
get that XRP. You know
Get
what I'm
out of
saying?
here. Well, maybe Jeriah's got the hookup.
I got the
for
hookup,
us.
bro.
I bet.
I'll bring you a loaf for real.
That's a bet.
Uh-huh.
I stayed in the home. I went in the home as a 21-year-old boy. I like to say I left as a 25-year-old young man, which now being almost 30, it's kind of crazy that I spent my early 20s in a group home with, obviously, I wasn't in school. I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have a job. It was a very unique lifestyle. But I do believe that it needed to take place to like allow me to take my sobriety seriously.
Yeah.
You know, it being like inpatient, for example, was a huge deal. Like if I could go home at night, who knows if I would have, you know, anyways. So it all worked out.
When you're alone,
Yeah.
you know, when you don't have that accountability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
some people need that when you get too far where you feel like you can't help yourself, you know?
I wanted to take it as seriously as I could at the time. And funny fact is I thought I was just going to go for the summer and then go back to school at UNT because I was enrolled for classes. And one day I was praying to God and he was like, you need to, well, it started as finish your 6-month commitment. Like it's a 6-month home. So I told my leadership there, I was like, yo, I need you to take me to UNT because I'm going to drop out of school. And at the time, I was just so excited about that. Like, I just remember that's how powerful God's love was for my heart. Like, I came home that day. All the guys were in the living room. And I was holding up my dropout sheet. I was like, yo, I dropped out of college for this. Like, we doing ministry, baby. Like, I was very excited. Yeah, it was cool, man. That's how it was. I left the home in December of 2020, which was like the middle of COVID or like end of COVID-ish.
Yeah, end of.
It was weird because like when I first left, again, another huge like learning curve, right? Like now I'm like back in the real world. But that's around the time we started dating. And
because y'all met at the
church.
I have a
that
question,
you were.
though.
Yes.
What did that program look like?
So I like to call it like Bible boot camp. So a lot of the men, it is a men's home, right? So a lot of the men that you run into there may have, you know, had a past life where they're in and out of prison, jail, or homeless even. So like, it's really interesting, like the dynamic. Like, and I made it to a point in the home where I was like teaching classes and doing stuff like that, Bible studies and whatnot. And I remember like always teaching the people like, or the guys, like, it doesn't matter if you've been in this home for 6 minutes or 16 years, like you'll never forget your time here because that's just how unique it was. We did like praise and worship 3 times a day with no instruments. Like we would literally go outside, stand in a circle and just like, I've been forgiven, praise the Lord, like going crazy. Like, and that was just part of the schedule, you know, but it was like such a culture shock because literally you see dudes with a cane, like doing backflips. I mean, obviously not that, but like that's what the zeal was. And so, yeah, I had fallen in love with that and ended up staying, like I said, almost 4 years in my early 20s. Yeah, and what it looked like was you do a lot of Bible studies, you know, you do a lot of fellowship, a lot of volunteer activities. Of course, there's a specific group of guys, typically the friendlier ones that fundraise banana bread. You don't want to send somebody out to sell bread that like, hey, fool, you want some bread?
Take this bread.
Which they're there, but it's cool.
So I have a question.
Sure.
How do you have a relationship with your mom?
Oh, yeah. So it wasn't really good. And then when I left the home, I needed somewhere to live, obviously. And her door was wide open. My mom was very supporting about my transition back into the real world. And she was like, my mom had found like her now husband. And she, through that relationship, it's her third husband. And I think they've been married now over like 10 years. And I wasn't really around when they were dating. I think when they got married, I was a junior in high school. So that was like starting the peak of my disaster. But his name's Ben, awesome dude, super chill. And they're like really happy and they love each other. So I think that marriage and just that part of my mom's life like allowed me to see now post home a different side of her that I'd never seen. So they hooked me up. You know, they didn't charge me rent or anything. They really just helped me get back on my feet.
That's sweet.
One of my first jobs was like delivering food or whatever. What's that? Favor.
Yeah.
It was back when Favor was like live. And she would let me use her car, like just like really like going above and beyond. And then over the last, 4 years that I've been out of the home, my relationship with my mom has gotten a lot better.
That's good.
So we actually have like phone calls now and stuff like that.
Do you feel like like you've forgiven her?
I don't think so. That was a big deal for me, like in praying, like when I was first sobering up and stuff. Like, okay, forgive. It was like the big three in my mind at the time. It was like forgive my mom, my dad, and my ex. But now looking back, like, and even my dad, who's maybe the one person that I should have to forgive, but I don't think I think I was the problem, you know.
Oof.
So I don't think I owe anybody, or I don't think anybody owes like me to forgive them. I don't know if I'm not trying to say it right.
I know what you mean.
I get you.
I think
You don't, like, they don't owe you an apology.
Yeah, I don't think they do. And
That's huge, bro.
Yeah.
and
That's huge.
it's not about. Yeah, it was me. You know, like I made myself the black sheep of my family. Like when I was in college. My sisters were doing better at the time, so like they kind of cleaned up real quick. You know, women kind of mature faster, and
Especially if you got kids.
yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
you're like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
So like they kind of like for the most part cleaned up, and now they're both doing really well.
Oh,
But like
good.
I made myself the black sheep. You know, I moved to Denton. My whole family was in Arlington.
Kind of isolated.
Isolated.
I did that same thing.
Never went to family events, and so like. So yeah, I mean, I guess essentially I did have to go through psych myself out. Like, yeah, I forgive these people, but now looking at it, I feel like, no, it's cool. Like, they were all people, you know, and I think they all did what they thought was best. And no, I don't put any decisions or mistakes past anyone. Like,
I just want to tell you, that's a lot of grace.
yeah,
You know, that's a lot of love, a lot of grace, a lot of putting yourself aside. You know, and just seeing the big picture of things. And not everyone can do that, you know. I also kind of saw a connection just being in that men's home. Do you think that it was filling like kind of like that father space for you?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
There was like, and I actually made this joke, like even nowadays I'll tell people, I'm like, yo, I'm taking like dad applications.
Yeah.
I kind of just laughing at my pain
Yeah.
because like that's one of the things I've struggled with the most is like, and it sucks because like a few men over the last few years and even before or just ever like in my whole life that I've gotten close to or in some way or another kind of like filled that need.
Yeah, that void.
They end up like sucking too. And I'm like,
What are you
so I
doing?
keep like getting hurt, I guess. It's really weird. But that's and not to like over Christianize it, but that's
No,
like
do
when
it,
when God comes in, you know, like
Absolutely.
he's not gonna leave. He's not gonna suck.
Yeah.
He's not gonna hurt me.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. Like the Lord, of course, he's not our genie in the bottle, but he's always going to fill the spaces of our heart that we need him to. You know, like if you're feeling like you need a companion. Like I know for the longest time, like when I was looking for and dreaming and praying for a spouse, like it wasn't just like, ooh, so I can have a husband, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was a companion.
Yeah.
You know, I just felt like deeply lonely. I wanted a best, you know, like that best friend that you get to live with and do life with. That's like such a Christian term, you know. But really,
you got a dime piece instead.
oh, you know that's right. You know
God
that's
went
right.
above and beyond when he delivered you, baby.
God was like, say less.
Okay, but
It's like the Powerpuff Girls intro, like sugar and
Right.
spice, everything nice.
But on a
Chopped cheese.
super serious, oh my gosh, on a super serious note though, in 2015, I wrote a list of things that I want in a husband, and it was like 20 plus things. He fit every single one. Of them.
What?
Every
That's
single one.
awesome.
Even minority. She had minority on that list too.
No, I didn't.
No.
No, I didn't. But I
Man
put
of
like
color.
musically inclined. I even put like hot natured because I can't have a
Oh,
man
'cause you
that's
want something-
freezing
yeah.
cold because I'm always hot.
We're clashing in that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm always burning up, and thank God I have a man that is also always
You
burning
walked in
up.
on me drenched in sweat. That says it all. That says it
But
all.
like just these like tiny details that are just like silly.
Yeah.
You know, but every single one of them, and it's like over 20. But I didn't tell him that until after we were married.
For sure.
So it
Didn't want
wouldn't
to spook him.
Yeah, and I didn't want him to feel like he was trying to like hit those
He's like,
things.
No,
musically inclined.
Yeah.
You're like, David, why are you signing up for music lessons? No reason.
Right?
Baby, did you make
He has
a
a little
list for
flute.
me?
No, I actually didn't. I guess I. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I like in my head.
General list?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made a
But I
list
never-
for her, and she didn't meet any of them.
You know you
Get
didn't.
out.
No, for real.
When?
I had a lot of time.
Probably had the wrong list.
Yeah.
No, but that's
He was
That
looking at a
was-
grocery
that
list.
was-
That's what it was.
Yeah. That was before Christ,
that was
Jeriah.
When
nah,
was
because
that? I never knew that.
because she dude, she's literally my gift from God. Like, and to in a little way of like proof is like the fact that we did like she wasn't my list. You know what I mean? Like I didn't make an actual list,
Okay.
but like
I
what I
figured.
was or what I thought I would have looked for in a woman, like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, what you thought you needed was actually not.
no,
what you
yeah,
needed.
not by any means. And God like handcrafted what He knew I needed, and that's part of
feel
our
like-
biggest
Mhm.
story. Like.
I feel like Destiny's like a subtle baddie.
She is very subtle.
Like she
Okay,
doesn't
thank
walk
you.
in the room
Yeah.
and be like, I'm a baddie, but like her presence is like, oh yeah, she's got it going on.
Yeah, she's like it was like our dating journey was so like interesting. Like you got to think like I hadn't dated in years basically at this point, and much less as a Christian. So like
Well, we met at church.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tell us.
So we
yeah.
met at church.
Or you share this
Yeah.
because
yeah. You tell your
That-
side, girl.
Okay. So we met at church. I was at Victory Church I was there for like maybe 7.5 years. But we met, kind of met. We just always had eye contact. It's all because whenever you're in the home, you can't talk to any of the church members, and then definitely not women. You'll get
So
in
you
trouble.
were still
In
in
the
the
home.
in the home
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
attending
Yeah.
the church.
So
Yeah.
we would just like cross each other's paths, and then I don't know, randomly just started talking. Like if I was serving and he was serving, and then I guess,
We went on a date.
well, yeah.
In
so
secret?
they have
No,
they have
a Valentine's event,
a Valentine's
like a banquet.
I got
So
you.
then the men can like ask, permission. If they say yes, and they can ask someone to go with them. So then, yeah, he asked me, and then
Which was crazy.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Victory
crazy.
Church.
I don't
you
even know
know?
why.
yeah, I really don't know how it all even happened,
'Cause,
or
like-
how we're still here.
I
But
was
what do you
like-
mean you don't know why? That just came out so wrong. You better
Nah,
redeem yourself.
Nah, because
Yeah, why?
I don't know. Like we were like
You put yourself.
we
in
were
that.
just. Go ahead, baby. Finish the
No,
story.
no, I want to hear you. Why?
No, that's. Go ahead,
Anyway,
baby,
so
go
yeah,
ahead.
so we went to the banquet, and then after that,
It was really fun. We had a good time.
Yeah.
She asked me my testimony. You did. That was the first thing she asked me.
I did. I wanted to know, like, where he
course.
came from,
Yeah.
his story while he was in the home, and then we slowly. What was it? Was it a year later? We went to my mom's wedding. My
was
mom
later
also
that
got
year.
married with someone that was in the home. Was a leader in the home.
Gotcha.
Oh,
So
y'all
then
got
he
it
ended
tight,
up-
girl.
Yeah,
No, I'm
in the
just kidding.
home for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it was cool. I knew my father-in-law before I knew Destiny.
Yeah.
We were like doing.
Oh,
That together.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
incredible.
Yeah, it was kind of
Yeah.
it kind of worked out. Like
Yeah,
it was
for sure.
definitely not a
It's a
situation
curveball
like
because
what-
it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting.
But at my mom's wedding,
That was like our second
him and
date.
some of the men came from the home to go support. And he sat next to me at my mom's wedding, and then we started writing letters to each other while he was in the home. Kind of just getting to know each other. Definitely just friends.
Yeah, like
just,
nothing official.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she wanted to be.
Can I
Yeah,
ask
I
a
liked you. I thought you were cute.
Yeah.
Can I ask a personal question that might be a little maybe
no.
personal?
Yeah.
Did it bug you that he was in a home when y'all were getting to know each other, or was that not even a thing?
No, it really wasn't a thing because
Yeah.
I feel like in that season I was definitely like, I would say trying to work on myself with being single and being independent and kind of just taking care of myself,
Yeah.
which I enjoyed that season too. But I did also long for the companionship
Yeah.
of, I feel like every girl in some way wants that, especially if they don't have a dad.
Oh yeah.
So
sure.
yeah. So I wouldn't say it definitely didn't like scare me away at all, which I don't know why. It
That's
didn't.
awesome.
You
Yeah,
think it would
you-
be like maybe stay away?
Be like kind
should've.
of sketch, but it
Yeah,
wasn't. It
yeah.
wasn't
should
the
have been a
case.
red flag,
Yeah,
but
should've,
like,
but
It was like purple.
hey, praise it, or what is it? The beige
It
flag.
was like light
is that
pink.
a thing?
yeah, like it's like little minor things.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
that's his beige
Yeah.
beige flag.
I
But
definitely didn't.
I feel like being in a home like that is showing that you are growing
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it
that
was-
you're on a road to growing.
Yeah,
Right.
I would say that's what attracted me is that he was, you know, I think I told him like the first time I saw him was like at the altar worshiping. And so I feel like I love to worship. So I'm like, oh, that's really attractive on a man.
For sure.
So yeah, it didn't scare me away, but I guess after he got out of the home was whenever it got really rough, having to like, I don't know, figure it out together, honestly. Because so that was the whole thing. So we wrote letters to each other, and then randomly I get a text from a random number
I got
at
straight
like
to it.
12 o'clock at night, and he was like, "Hey you,"
Hey,
and I was
you.
like, "Who is this, and why are you texting me?" And he's like, "It's Jeriah," and I'm like, "How?" Because like they're not supposed to have phones.
Oh.
So he's like, "I'm out of the home." I'm like, and he didn't tell me nothing. So yeah. So then we went on our first date, and it was
Like
not
official.
what we
Yeah.
expected.
It wasn't
all.
at 12 a.m. though, right?
No, no,
The
no,
first
no,
date.
no,
was
no,
like,
no.
It was normal.
That'd be
Meet
weird.
me at this Mickey D's.
Business hours. No,
What
our
do you
fir-
mean it wasn't what you expected?
I don't know. So I feel like writing letters was like cool, but then like having to like actually sit across from each other and have conversations, it just
Mm.
didn't flow like I thought it was going to. So we both felt like things were off. And then that's when it kind of just got really like rough because I didn't realize how hard it would be for someone that's in a home for 4 years, readjust to
To, like,
life,
integrate.
to build his life back up. And yeah, I don't know. It was really rough. What would you say about that season?
it definitely like I was going through a lot, just like mentally.
Yeah.
You know, just I'm now 25, and like, all kinds of thoughts are coming in the mix. Like it's all fun and games when you're just doing ministry. You kind of lose sight of, you know, credit score and
Right.
bills and
Responsibilities.
Yeah.
You know, it's all
For sure.
so now I'm in my mid 20s, and yeah, I'm very proud of myself for being sober this long or whatnot. And yeah, it's kind of cool that this cute Sade is hollering at me, but I'm living on a couch in my mom's laundry room. I need to get a job. You know, I don't know what, and at this time I wasn't making music or anything, so I didn't feel like I had any kind of like purpose. So it was really, and I went from going 1,000 miles an hour for 4 years straight to like, no, I left in December 13th. So not only am I just adjusting in general, it's holidays.
Yeah.
So like my
Yeah.
whole family's home, like they're
Yeah.
doing nothing. So I'm
Mhm.
like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And then she maybe had expectations of like, all right, this man's mine now. We're gonna be happy. Things are gonna be good.
Yeah.
And it was weird. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily know what I wanted either.
Yeah.
I kind of found comfort in her because I was like, cool. You know, it was like great.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I was like, I don't know. You know, I wasn't ready to do anything serious.
Yeah, I was definitely scared of the commitment. And I'm like, oh, I've waited for this moment, so things should be perfect and we should be happily in love by next year. Like,
Right.
we got it. But it was definitely far from that. But I'm actually thinking about it now, like, grateful that we went through this whole process
For
because
sure.
Like in
it's definitely,
hindsight.
yeah, shaped us like, obviously, it has shaped us
Yeah.
as to who we are now. But it's just so cool that like God has still kept us together.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a really beautiful thing. Like I guess just thinking of everything that we have gone through and like we're sitting here talking about it is crazy. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, because it doesn't seem like that long, but I guess it really has like what 5 years now.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy, like the amount of things that God has done and has shown
Mhm.
up time and time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Super cool.
That's beautiful.
I-
I love, or I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. You good?
I love hearing stories where it wasn't just like all butterfly and rainbows at the
Yeah.
beginning, you know, like you had to fight for it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
Not
And
at
it's
all.
interesting, like feeling the urge to fight for something where you're not even like sure what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's
That
definitely
had to be a
confusing.
God thing.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I feel like if it wasn't a God thing, you'd be like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You
and
know?
I feel like
Exactly.
it did get to that point to where it was like he was also dealing with a lot of inner demons, I would
Yeah.
say, and I was like so oblivious to it. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, nothing. I'm like, okay. So it's just
Yeah.
I never really like
Nothing.
he was also really dealing with a lot of stuff
Yeah.
like in
Mhm.
his heart, healing. And I just never really had thought about that until a couple years later, we had finally talked about some bigger issues in our relationship. And I'm like, oh, now I have an understanding. Now we've opened a window to be vulnerable with each other.
It's
okay,
awesome.
now we're here. What can we do about it?
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's when forgiveness and healing actually started taking place in our relationship. And I'm like, okay, I feel like a lot of women do this. They see the potential in men. And I definitely had saw that. So him being in the home didn't scare me away, but it was like, no, I have a feeling, or I know like God's going to call you to something way bigger. And I want to be there to encourage you, to uplift you, to be that person for you. And I don't need it to be perfect, but I want to like have a man that's going to continue to fight in a marriage.
Yeah.
I don't know, in a relationship.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely brought us like a long way.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's awesome because what let me get my thoughts together. Let me get my thoughts together.
What?
Everything that you're saying is like saying you're basically telling the Lord, look, I have plans, but you will direct my path.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I feel like that scripture is like a rema, and I guess for me, I just love it so much because what it's telling me is I'm willing to this is what I want, X, Y, and Z, but I'm willing to take a step outside of it because I know that you're faithful and you're good. And so I'm seeing something in this guy.
Yeah.
It may not necessarily fit what I'm wanting, but there's something about him that it's speaking to me.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to give it a chance. And I think that's beautiful because, I mean, ain't that Jesus?
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm saying it's like
the way
it's just the way he chooses to love us.
Yeah.
It's just like regardless of what they've done,
Even with all that mess, I will still choose to love
I
you.
will still choose to love you.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a beautiful depiction because that is what will get you through some of the hardest times.
For sure. Yeah.
Right. And I think too, just to kind of also add to what you're saying is just like sometimes we ask God for something in the way that we picture it in our heads, and then God will bless us with something, but it doesn't look like the way that we imagined it, but it's still good.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes we look at it and say, no, but it's not what I wanted. So I'm just gonna, and we don't realize that God is blessing us with something that he knows is good for us. Yeah. Right. But because we didn't picture it a certain way, we don't want it.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And I think in that same manner, maybe not intentionally, but you wanted something, you wanted God to give you something, and he gave you something. It just didn't look to the T of what you wanted, but you still acknowledged it and you were like, there's still something good there.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so let me get curious. Let me lean in. Let me learn more about him.
Yeah.
Let me give him space. Let me give him a little corner of my heart.
Yeah.
You know, and if it's good, then I'll give him a little bit more space. Then I'll give him a little bit more space. And then hopefully I can give him my whole heart.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just think that's, I don't know, to me, if that resonates.
Yeah.
But that to me is like kind of like what I'm picking up on.
I feel like that's why like I was able to say, well, after all the on and off, it was, okay, hey, I need you to make a decision. I need to know, because if not, I am going to move on.
Good.
Because I do want a family. I do want kids. I want a future. I'm like, and I finally had came to like, what would I say? Or how would I say it? Like, how would I say it?
Well, you
I
just
feel
came to
Like an ultimatum?
Kind of, yes, but also like with myself,
It's
like
with
being
yourself.
okay, letting go of something or someone that doesn't want to be there, because that's kind of how I was feeling. I'm like, hey, if this is not for you, it's okay. So I finally came to peace about that of like, if this is not for you, it's okay.
Yeah.
God is still going to take care of me.
Yeah.
So
But
finally
that's-
came to that.
But that's not an ultimatum to me. That's creating healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're like,
That's what
I
had
don't want to get
learn.
hurt.
Yeah, that's
Just
what I
like
had
the
to learn.
sternness, you know?
Right.
And something my therapist told me the other day, which I swear it was such a wisdom nugget, and I'm going to keep it with me forever. But she said, being clear to someone is being kind to them.
Yeah.
You know? And so just like voicing yourself, saying like, hey, I'm being super clear with you, and that's actually showing kindness to you.
Yeah.
And that's a fruit of the Spirit. So that's not something that we naturally produce. The Holy Spirit
Kindness,
gives us the kindness
Mm-hmm.
for us to show to somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I know I cut you off
Oh,
and
no,
you
you're
were
fine.
you were kind of sharing.
I forgot what I was saying.
I
That's
forgot
okay.
too.
So is there, I know that all of that was kind of just like at the beginning,
Uh-huh.
you know, kind of sorting through those rough times.
Yeah.
Since y'all have actually been married, are there any struggles that y'all have been facing that you weren't expecting?
Oh, for sure.
That you feel
Yeah.
comfortable with sharing.
Yeah, I
There's-
would say the expectations.
Yeah.
Getting into the marriage and not actually, and yeah, acknowledging the expectations that you had. So
Mhm.
it was all of that mixed in with none of them being met, arguments, dealing with stuff.
Yeah.
And we,
Wasn't fun.
Yeah.
we like, one day we had to come, like, we looked at each other and, like, kind of just said, like, dude, and kind of just, like, collectively gave ourselves a little grace because we're like, dude, we both come from
yeah.
single parent families.
Yeah.
It's
What the
crazy.
heck are we expecting?
Yeah, why are we
Like,
trying to have it,
we
act like we have it all together, act like we know what we're doing?
Yeah.
Because we're going to
Right.
fail.
It wasn't shown to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what's crazy? Super practical and super just like some of the most growth we experienced was like when we moved. So like moving into our first duplex and we're like building a bed frame.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bro, let's make it or break it right there. Because
Uh-huh.
like,
It
because that's
is.
like patience.
I just sit back and just let her do it because she won't let me.
and it
I'm like,
was-
get
scoot
involved.
aside,
I'm like, are
sir."
you sure that's right?
Right.
I'm like, if
You
you
can't
ask
take
me
it
one
off.
more time. But like seriously, and then when we moved the second time into our now apartment where we live, we did it just us. Like we rented a U-Haul. It took us like 6 trips.
Mhm.
It was a weekday. It was the morning. It took us like 13 hours.
That
But
must felt good though.
no, it was
What?
beast mode.
Just between both of y'all doing
Oh, yeah,
that,
yeah.
that must have felt
But
like
But we were
at
like,
the end,
at the end.
It was yes.
Because we were like,
During-
don't talk to me throughout this whole move.
During she almost threw me off the balcony. Like I'm.
Yeah, it was rough for sure.
I feel like that's how I am when I'm in the zone. I'm just like,
Get out of my way.
Yeah, move. Move. Don't ask me
Yeah.
questions.
that's not an issue for me.
yeah.
But
It's not an issue for me. I
The
don't know. I stand
craziest,
back.
most overlooked nugget in all of that is that going through that made having it now together a million times more valuable. Like, dang, you know, like that's our little mountain. Boom, check.
Yeah.
And it's like now we appreciate our home
Mhm.
and we, you know, we value it. You know, it's
Yeah,
not
because
just
y'all building it
Mhm.
together.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was so yeah, that's that like the communication thing. We started going to therapy as well. Like
Yes.
Yeah, at the
Still.
very
Love
beginning.
therapy.
couples therapy was
We needed
really
it because we got married in May, and then December we were like, this is horrible.
yeah.
There's no way we can do this on our own because either I'm going to be out or you're going to be out.
Hey,
One of
but
us is going to be
shout
out.
out to y'all to choose to want to make.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
we know
Sit
what
down.
doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
We both
Right.
had great examples of that.
Yeah.
So we're like, shoot, let's try it. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And it ended up being cool.
We did it for a year.
A year and
We did it for a
then
year.
she broke off and now he's still my personal what's the correct word? Therapist, counselor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know who I'm
counselor.
yeah.
Either one.
And actually I have on June 26th, I'm supposed to go see him and it might be my last. I don't know. You know, it's kind of
Yeah.
expensive.
Well,
So I'm like-
oh
Well,
yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. I was like, that must
Yeah.
have been expensive.
Yeah. So I'm
because
like,
it's a big investment.
We
Oh,
have
yeah, for sure.
insurance.
We both-
Praise God.
We have
Oh, yeah.
insurance, but there's still
but
like
still, like it adds up.
it adds
Yeah.
up for sure.
If you look at it,
And a lot of times, like right now, David or both of us are really in therapy for just like maintenance.
yes,
Just
and
like
that's-
everyday navigating.
So that's why I was like, me and him were like, well, it might be, you know,
Yeah.
because sometimes you just got to go in and talk to somebody. You
Yeah.
know?
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's seasonal.
Mhm.
Sometimes, you know, I feel like I've been in a very difficult season because the question that I asked y'all about things that y'all have struggled with that you didn't realize you would struggle with,
Mhm.
ours is having a baby and navigating a porn addiction.
Mhm.
Those are the ones in our marriage that I was just like, whoa. I was not
It
prepared.
wasn't on your bingo card.
No, not
Yeah.
at all. I had
Yeah.
no idea. And so
The best way that I described it to my therapist initially was, I feel like I'm in a boxing match that I just did not train for.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I'm getting hit from all angles, and I don't know how to dodge a single one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of like what the last year and a half.
yes.
It's kind of like felt like it's like we can't. Like anytime I manage to turn around, I get clocked by something,
Yeah.
and then she'll turn around and look a different way and get clocked by
Or
something.
a big old bill comes out and we both get clocked. Strike, you know.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, even there's days where like I will wake up and feel so depressed, even just like last week,
Mhm.
you know? And so it's just been such a roller coaster. And whenever it comes to even just like all the porn stuff, even the baby stuff, it's all intertwined together.
Yeah.
You know, I still always tell David, like, I'm still glad that I married you. You know, like I don't regret that, not even a little bit. But this sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having to like feel through it.
Yes.
And,
And
like, face
just
it.
the ups and downs, especially for me too. Like, you know, I have to be reminded every single month that I'm not pregnant. You know, like, and then it's like, okay, is this pregnancy or is this PMS? It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, and then he's been such a support because I'll just bust out crying like spontaneously, you know, like I could be in the best mood. And then it's like I sit down on the couch and when I'm like decompressing, I'm just like, you know,
Well, it's like,
and he's
it's like 5:30 in the morning and I'm getting dressed for work and all I hear is, what happened to my life? And I'm like, whoa,
that was a very dark time.
baby.
Last week.
Like,
Yeah.
baby, what's going on?
That was, well, no, I woke up asking the question, where did things go wrong?
Yeah.
No, I
So,
mean it'd
and-
be like that. And
I
And
was
I'm
in
wa-
a dark place.
Yeah.
I'm a lot better.
And I'm getting dressed watching Golden Girls and she's like,
I know.
And I'm like, what do you,
I literally woke up crying and that scared me.
hold on,
Yeah.
Betty.
yeah.
You know,
I got
right?
some business to attend to.
But with that situation, I just kind of like put my foot down and was like, I cannot let heavy things and negative things fill what I'm putting in. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So automatically it's like I love Crime Junkie, but I'm going to take a break.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to like uplifting podcasts,
Yeah.
uplifting audiobooks, worship music. Like I was just in a pit that I'm like, my mind cannot handle like even a
A drop
smidget
of
of heaviness because the world is heavy enough. I'm heavy enough with everything that we're experiencing. I have to have positivity.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, that means I have to have Jesus.
Yeah.
You know? And so I just read Psalms 25 over, Lord, I give my life to you. You make my path known, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and just finding songs that really resonate with that. And just like in my mind, having almost like a lament, you know, or just like a repentance of like laying myself down before his feet of like, I can't, what made me think I could do this on my own?
Yeah.
When did I like let go of your hand?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because in John 15 it says, apart from me, you can do nothing.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, that you have to stay connected to the source,
Yeah.
to the divine, you know? And it's just like, it's really disheartening when your life is not producing fruit or you don't
Right.
feel like it's
Yes.
producing fruit.
Yeah.
And you're
You
like,
know, just like deadly stuff, like toxic thoughts and, you know, outbursts
Intrusive
of,
thoughts. Yeah.
you know, outbursts. Like I was super irritable with my mom and like, I'm pretty sure like under my breath whispered like, shut the F up, you know, and she heard me.
oh no.
And then I was like, Mom, I'm so sorry. You know, I don't know what came over, you know, but it's just, yeah, it's been a struggle, but
it's like
But-
learning to channel that.
it's a season. And I
Yeah.
just declare like the Lord is our Redeemer
yeah.
and all the pain he is going to redeem.
Yeah.
And
Amen.
it's going to be for good.
I would say probably like I guess to answer your question too about like what are some of the things that like in our marriage that we've gone through. I would say one of the things that like really I don't know, I feel now like everything that we have gone through, I've definitely seen God in it. But it's definitely I feel like before marriage, I guess personally, like God was there, but not my anchor. Like
Yeah.
things happened
Wow.
in my life, but it wasn't like other people had
Yes.
it worse. But I feel like now going through some of the things, I'm like, oh my gosh, God, I need you. Like, where are you?
Mhm.
Like, this is, I don't know, breaking down these like walls that I had, like thinking I had it all together, or
Yes.
thinking like, oh, I know, like, oh, I'm going to get married and my life is going to be great. And then we got married and then,
It does not
started-
answer your problems.
No, not
It
at
does
all.
not
Yeah.
solve them.
no, for sure.
And
It's
just-
not meant to solve your problems.
No.
Well, we kind
It's
You
of.
know?
definitely just a whole mirror of everything that you suck at.
Mhm.
It's
And
like
it definitely, I don't know, encourages you to definitely grow in a lot.
well, it kind of
Yes.
shows you the importance of that personal relationship with Jesus
Yeah.
versus like yeah, we can go to church and we can serve in
Mhm.
church and we can listen to our favorite Christian artists and we can
Mm-hmm.
buy the Pray For Us hat on outlandishfest.com. No,
Hey.
we could do all these things.
Hey, we'll add it to the bio,
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
That's not a
no,
problem.
do it. Exclusive. They're not out yet.
Oh.
So, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Only 40 were made.
Oh.
Dang.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, we'll talk after.
Yeah, for sure. Nah, but we can do all those things. But what do those do when you're not getting pregnant? What do those
Right.
do when, you know, I was in the home for drugs and alcohol? What do those do when I backslide?
Yeah.
What good is that gonna do when she's angry, right? We talked
Mhm.
where she mentioned her anger. Like, what do we do? Like, it's like, wow, it's just a big magnifying glass on the fact that, like,
Yeah.
okay, I've been
don't
going
have it
through these
together.
motions, but
Yeah.
I need Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, like,
And I was
Mhm.
gonna say, in our marriage, I would say one of the biggest things that like was alcohol. So that was like a big thing at the beginning of our marriage because it was my idea was, oh, I can have a drink with my dinner and I'm good. Like that's not a
Mm.
problem for me.
Yeah.
And being out of
We're good. I don't know what that
Are
was.
we?
Yeah, we're still.
oh no, it's dying. This dying.
Oh,
This
is that what
dying.
it is? It's dying.
Oh, it's just the light.
Wait,
oh,
is
thank
it
God.
battery or is it power?
It's battery.
It's battery.
Oh, it's dying.
Oh, I thought
While
it was
she
the
talk,
whole
do you want to
system.
switch them out?
Yeah, I got you.
That
just gotta-
scared me.
You just got to pull them up. You can go ahead, girl. You
yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Go,
okay.
go, go. You're good.
what was I saying?
Yeah,
Oh,
alcohol.
yes.
How you could just have one like with dinner.
Yeah, so that was my thing. I was out of my mom's house. Like, I'm like, okay, I can enjoy a drink with my husband. So my idea was, okay, have a drink with our dinner.
Yeah.
Cool. His idea is, I'm going to drink to get drunk, and that's the only reason why I drink. And I'm like, no, that's a problem because
Yeah.
that's not how I'm
Jeriah
wired.
was like, blame
that's
it on
how,
the booze. Catch Phil.
Literally.
No, so I
So
didn't
that was
get,
a big hurdle in
Yeah.
our marriage of
Just-
just finding balance, thinking you can find
Mhm.
balance, but we like resulted in no alcohol.
Yeah.
Mm.
You
Only
have
if
to.
I feel like,
My-
and I'm
Which
grateful for
sucks,
the
yeah.
season that like we went through of figuring it out and like just God's grace, honesty through it
Mhm.
all. Of like, I'm gonna let you figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. And I'm not saying alcohol is bad, but for
No.
us, it's the
Not when there's
no,
an
it shouldn't
addiction.
be. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
You know.
shouldn't be.
and like, so I actually, earlier you asked me my story. If I were to pick up where I left off, I left the home, we're dating, I'm at my mom's. I made it to 4 years and 10 months sober, but who's counting? And then I had my first drink in 2022, April, and it really wasn't too crucial. Like, things went too far that night, but I don't think I touched alcohol again for like 3 or 4 months. But then slowly after that second drink, now it was like 1 or 2 months. And then now it's 2023, and I'm like drinking every weekend. And not to a point of I'm getting drunk every time.
Mhm.
Because I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not doing drugs. I'm not selling drugs. We go out to eat and we can afford a drink. This is great.
Mhm.
And it works for a lot of people in the Christian community, to be honest. That people that we know or people I'm sure you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But let's say it was every weekend, or let's say it was a handful of times in 2023 and 2024. Some of those nights, sure, no big deal. I had 2 beers. I drove us home and we woke up the next day and did our business. But some of those nights completely had me back in a place where I was before my first stunt of sobriety.
Mhm.
And I remember just waking up with like guilt of like, this isn't me anymore. And now it's impacting my marriage.
Mm.
Before I was just an 18, 19-year-old boy, like it was no big deal. Now I'm married and
Right.
like, and this is dangerous. And I'm like,
Yeah.
anyways, the last time, so I'm sober again,
Woo
that's
woo.
cool. Not that it's any,
Pew, pew, pew.
the world's business,
No, but it's
Right.
important.
But it's
it's
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Um,
celebrate you. That's a big deal.
yeah,
victory.
and something cool that I'm doing too that's really helped me. It sounds so weird because I'm actually working on my own sponsorship. Dude, anytime I'm craving a cold brew, grab me a little 0.0%. Stuff hits the spot.
Yeah.
It tastes
Like
exactly the same.
Odell's. or-
O'Doul's, yeah.
O'Doul's?
I haven't tried that one because
Yeah.
I found my Heineken and I really like it.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
Heineken Zero.
One of my friends drank that when she was pregnant because she just likes beer.
yeah,
yeah.
I like a cold beer sometimes.
Yeah.
Not the best trait to have, but
Right.
luckily they make zero.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. It's so interesting. There's a science behind it. But if I have 2 or 3, I feel buzzed. And it's because for 15 years, my mind
Wow.
associated that taste with that feeling.
So it's like create,
like
like
a
you convince
placebo.
yourself.
Yes. So
that
now
you're-
that I don't have, as long as I don't build up a tolerance for it, like I say, I only do it once a month or so, kind of works. I know that's weird and
No,
not,
it makes sense.
not necessarily like appropriate or whatever, but
Yeah.
but it's cool. It's cool for me.
But that's where you're at.
Yeah,
And
there's
That's where I'm
grace
at.
there.
That's my
you know.
yeah. That's my
I mean, honestly, bro, if anybody tells you otherwise, my response to things like that, it's always let me put an LED screen in front of you. Let me put a helmet on your head so we can see the last 30 days of what you've done.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I guarantee you, it doesn't.
We're all people.
Well, I think about
Yeah.
the woman who is caught in adultery. Like, who's gonna throw the stone? Who's
Right.
gonna,
Yeah.
like
It's good.
nobody. And
Yeah.
I'm saying nobody
Yeah.
is perfect.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No facts.
You know.
Yeah,
So that was
and the Bible also says, like, by the measure that you judge others, you will be judged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
if you want to be judged, right, in
Yeah.
a way that like
That
benefits
strict?
you,
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Start learning how to judge people with grace.
Have at
and
it.
love.
Yeah.
Have at
Yeah.
it.
Seriously. No, but that was a big hurdle for us in
Yeah.
our
Mhm.
marriage
Yeah.
because
Finding
it
the
was
balance for sure.
it was like battling. It was like being in a boxing match that I didn't train for.
Yeah.
You know, where I'm dealing with a person in the mirror that she never knew,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
and I'm dealing
Never saw that side.
and I'm dealing with him, myself now, and her, and not just that, like those around me. So it was a total season.
Mm-hmm.
But now
Yeah.
again, like being on the other side of that, it's been cool, man. It's part of the bricks that we're laying down on this
Yep.
home and foundation that we're
Yeah.
building.
It's every day.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know, every
Yeah.
day. And I know something that has been hard for me to come to terms with. And also it feels like it like conflicts with like the Christian faith
Mm,
is that the addiction is there to stay.
mm.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, no, like Jesus will just break all the chains and you could see a naked woman and not even be,
Right,
like
right.
it's
Yeah.
like that's the
Well, because I think
expectation of a lot of Christians
Yeah.
when it comes to addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been hard to swallow of like, no, I mean, he can be set free,
Yeah.
but the enemy's always going to bring it back
Yeah,
around.
for sure.
Like that.
1,000.
And someone had said, like, equated it to the thorn in his side. And like, I'm
Yeah.
like, that's actually pretty accurate,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because I think about in the word, it talks about the flesh is never satisfied.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Facts.
So, like, you give it a little, it takes more, it takes more.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to like lashing out in anger, anything that's opposite of God's will for your life, like, you're going to want to do more and
Yeah.
more and more and more and more of it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Because it's never satisfied.
Yeah.
for sure. And we talked about this in a previous episode where, and I'll probably get backlash like I have before in the
That's
DMs,
fine. That's fine.
and that's fine. But one thing that we talked about is I truly believe, and this is not to say everybody else is wrong. I believe that sometimes we have a misunderstanding of what deliverance is.
Mm.
And I think deliverance, to me, what deliverance looks like is me having an opportunity to act out into my addiction and then saying, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That to me is deliverance.
Mhm.
Because Paul says, I prayed 3 days for this thorn on my side and God never took it from me.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So that thing stayed.
Mm-hmm.
And so what did Paul do? Instead, he took that weakness and brought it to Christ and used it to his advantage to stay closer to God,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to have total and complete dependence of God. And I think deliverance is when you get to a point where you realize I don't need to depend on this thing. I can depend on something even better. To me, that's deliverance because
Well,
And I kind of want to insert something in there and say it's not the definition of deliverance, but instead an aspect of deliverance.
Mhm.
You know, because you do have like deliverance of like impure spirits, right? Like
Right.
that's
absolutely.
the thing.
Yeah,
Right.
for
you
sure.
know, but yeah, it can be in those subtle moments as well. Like I know also too, deliverance for me can sometimes be crying,
Yeah.
releasing what's
For sure.
inside and letting it out.
Yeah, for sure.
That can be
Well,
a
I
deliverance
I
as
guess the
well.
reason why I say that is because sometimes I'll get people saying like, "How are you? How's
Yeah.
life?" You know, and I don't hold back. I mean, I'm just like, bro, I was tempted this morning. I had a really big temptation moment, and
People will try to like
I
strike
didn't
you down for
respond to
that.
it.
Yeah.
And they'll look at that and say, "So you're not healed from that?"
Yeah.
And I'm just like, are you not
Do
hearing
you
my
not hear what I
response?
said? Yeah.
Yeah.
I never understood that.
It's about choices.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
correspond. I mean, I really relate. I really resonate. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Correspond, relate, resonate. I really resonate because I was hands down delivered from drugs and alcohol
Right.
in 2017 when I made a choice as a 21-year-old to rededicate my life back to Jesus. But that 2.5-year season that just ended, last year or early this year, where I had to go through that. And sure, it wasn't as bad as it was over here, but I had to go through that to get to where I am today to say, okay, in our house, in our family,
Mhm.
there's no tolerance.
Yeah.
Hard boundary.
Yes, and
Yeah.
and if she told me tonight after this podcast, hey, let's go out to eat, I'm gonna get a drink. We came to agreement a long time ago. I'd respect that and it'd be okay. But I think where we're at now is like she's like loving so hard in it that like she herself hasn't even had a drink ever since
Yeah.
I've been back on the horse.
Yeah.
Because it's just like we're stronger together.
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
even though it's not even a problem she has. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And you know something that's crazy that makes me think of? So whenever everything like came out about the porn addiction, I think that was back in 2022, I think. Now when we watch TV shows, we, like if we feel like there's like a sex scene, ooh, I'm fast forwarding,
Yeah.
or if something pops up, he like will
Actually-
block his eyes.
Actually, today that was really quick, and then you can get back. I promise.
I'm gonna lose my train of thought.
That
Go
happened to
ahead.
me today. I was watching Twilight, and it wasn't some heavy sex scene that was happening. It was them making out. And I, out of just, that's what we do, I grabbed the remote and I skipped the whole scene.
Mhm.
Heck
And
yeah.
it wasn't even anything bad, but the fact that I started seeing them having an intimate moment,
Yeah.
I was like, let's move on to
Yeah.
the next stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't even realize until I did it that I was like, oh, shoot, that's crazy.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Just out of,
Right.
Yeah.
like, out of habit, you
But
know?
that's what I was gonna say. It's like that's not even something that like I struggle with, right? But if there's a sex scene, even if I'm alone, I will scroll through it. I used to never do that, like because it doesn't phase me,
Mhm.
you know. But at the same time, if it's something impure, why am I watching it anyways?
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like. And so it's like I don't want to hold him to this standard and me like, oh yeah, I just watch all the sex that I want on TV. You know, like that's just
It doesn't line up.
Yeah.
like even though it's not a stronghold for me or anything
Yeah.
like that, it's like out of respect and then in that habit of like, just
Yeah.
no, we don't do that. We
Yeah.
don't do that.
Because it was
you know?
also a whole season of, well, I feel like a hypocrite because I'm telling you not to drink, but I can go have a drink with the girls. I just didn't feel,
Right.
but also I stopped because we have been trying to have a baby. So I'm like,
Mhm.
no, I feel like I want to be mindful of what I'm putting in my body.
Yeah.
And also, what I wanted to say earlier was one of the things that would make me really upset whenever he'd go through the season of maybe backsliding or drinking too much. It would just make me so upset because I'm like, why are you going and picking up the trash that you left behind 4 years ago?
Right.
Like, this is not who you are. I feel like you're trying to put something back on from the trash can that's not
Oof.
supposed to be on
Wow.
you. And I feel like we do that a lot of
All
like
the time.
just I don't know. That's what I wanted to say, but it would make me so upset in those seasons of like, this is not who you are. This is
Mhm.
not like who God created you to be. Why are you allowing it to still come back into your life and have such a stronghold on you?
Yeah.
Whenever this is not who you are anymore. So I
Yeah.
feel like I know that God blessed me in his life to be that like
Mhm.
speak life into your partner of like, this is not who you are. This is not what God's called you to be. God's called you for greater things. And I was telling him in the car or I think earlier this week of that I feel like he stopped drinking because, or it was like a personal decision, but from the outside looking in, I was like, I really feel like God is, well, what was I saying?
I don't remember, but I think I know where you're going with it. Like,
Yeah,
in general, like our life just started making more sense. Like we finally
Yeah.
got connected to a church.
yeah.
Yeah.
We, after being a year in therapy, we have some marital breakthroughs.
Yeah. Refining is what I was
You
trying
know,
to say.
Refining.
my
Yeah.
career,
Yeah.
my career had elevated itself to another level to where we were a little more comfortable financially. Like certain things were lining up, but I'll just point it all back to God. Like, it was just that
Yeah.
season, that timing of like having to go through these things to like
Yeah.
be able to appreciate like, oh, okay, if we work hard, if we put God first, if we are responsible, life just makes more sense.
Yeah.
And it's been like, it's been tough, obviously, at times. I mean, y'all know, like, we're preaching to the choir, right? But like, it's been so rewarding just in the long run. And I
Yeah.
will say, just like for me, if anybody's listening, like substance abuse or whatnot, like the biggest thing for me having, now I can look back and say, okay, I was 5 years sober and then I dabbled with it for a couple years and now I'm in this new season. And just looking at both seasons in hindsight, I'm like, I'm way better right here, and I had a similar revelation of like just hypocrisy, kind of, as in like this season I was justifying it by like I told y'all, I'm not doing drugs and I'm not as bad. I'm not stealing things. I'm not blacking out. I'm not cussing like a sailor. Like, I was like, it's okay. I have a few drinks. It's okay. But I had this light just clicked on, and I was like, that's the same thing as someone saying, I used to murder people and now I just kind of beat them up.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Wow.
that's kind of the same. That's what
That's
I'm
crazy.
doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I did that, no one would accept that. I wouldn't
Right.
accept that. So like
Right.
that in came the hard boundaries. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I feel like in maturing also, like, you start thinking of like, you start thinking about your partner, but also like, what do you want your kids to see?
Right.
Like, what habits do you want them to pick up on? So it's just something
what
way
do you want to
bigger.
pass down?
Yeah, way bigger than us.
Yeah.
I don't know. From looking from that perspective, just maturing and
Yeah.
wanting, babies soon.
Yeah.
It's just having to think like that too,
Yeah.
to be selfless, which is so hard because we can be
Right.
so selfish.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Guys.
Well, you're
oof.
not wrong, because something that we talked a while back, I brought up to you. I was reading Hebrews 11:13. It says these all died in faith, not fully seeing the promises of God fulfilled, but they understood that they were pilgrims passing through.
Mm-hmm.
And what the Holy Spirit revealed to me through that scripture is that is what legacy looks like. Your legacy is not to see fulfillment of all areas of life, to see it through. Your legacy is to build a path for the next generation that comes after you.
Yeah.
that's good.
So in the
Set
same
it
thing
up.
of what you're talking about, of just like your children, what is it that you want to model for your children? That's your legacy.
Yeah.
Your legacy is not necessarily this is who he was. It was, what did he leave behind?
Yeah.
Did he
Yeah.
leave behind a road paved with the goal of having integrity,
Mm-hmm.
or were the road paved with chaos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's what was, kind of coming to mind of what you're talking about, of just like, and I guess too, because that's where I'm at, of just like, when we have kids, what do I want my legacy to be? Do I want because for a while, I thought my legacy was my addictions. If I'm not careful, I'm going to transfer them over to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
That was my biggest fear. And then and then I remember one night while I was praying, asking the Lord for a fresh move of his spirit, he's like, that's great. We'll get to that. You're scared to be a dad because you think that you're going to transfer your past mistakes over to your kids, and you need to let that go, because that's not healthy for you.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be healthy for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I needed to give up that fear, and that Hebrews 11:13 is just, it reminds me that I'm just a pilgrim passing through.
Mm-hmm.
But the path that I make, right? So Moses, he didn't get he wasn't able to enter the promised land, but the path that he created allowed the next generation to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's what was his legacy. That's why when Moses passed, God said, I'm going to give y'all 30 days to grieve his death. He meant that much to them because of the path that he created for them through the obedience.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm just like, that's what I want my legacy to be.
Yeah.
I don't want my legacy to be addictions and problems. I want them to be trusting in God fully.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Because even in our season of, we have been trying to have a baby for a year, hasn't been successful.
It's hard.
And it is hard. It's just an emotional roller
I
coaster
know.
that I'm like, Lord,
Every
please
month.
get me off this ride.
I know.
Nope.
But yeah, it's like,
I know.
it's like you think you are, and then like what you're saying, they're all the same symptoms.
Yep.
Bleh.
Yep.
Horrible.
I know.
But
We
through
could
this-
talk about it more later, because
Yeah.
I'm sure we could talk about it for like hours.
Yeah, yeah,
It's-
for sure.
6-hour episode.
Right?
The first ever.
I know. I'm like, I
part,
feel like
part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Anyways, go ahead.
No, I forgot what I was saying.
See, that's me. I do that every episode, at least twice.
Okay, good.
You're not
You
alone.
were
Okay, good.
saying,
That y'all been trying for a year.
Even in the
unsuccessful.
season of
oh
being
yeah, even in the
unsuccessful.
season.
Maybe you
was
just
it?
wanted to share that.
No,
No, there was a
forgot.
close. There was a
Legacy,
punchline.
Yeah.
Moses, the path for your kids.
Oh my gosh, I completely lost
It's
it.
okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You're
okay,
fine.
baby.
You're fine.
I'm sure it'll
Okay.
come back.
Yeah, it might
But
come back.
how are y'all feeling?
Really good.
Do you feel like there's anything on your heart that y'all haven't got to share?
I want to say that going no headphones as a fellow podcaster is definitely a vibe.
The move.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it. I know they both have their pros and cons, but not for me. I feel like we are just having a conversation.
Yeah.
So I've really enjoyed that. Also, before we get into anything else too deep, or maybe we won't, or maybe we will. Shameless plug. Just dropped a new single, Real Jewelry, streaming on all platforms.
She's like, he can't help himself.
Jeriah, all
forgive-
lowercase,
forgive him.
Jeriah. Follow me on IG at Jeriah.zip. You feel me?
Absolutely.
Hey.
So where does Outlandish come from? How did that come to be?
Twofold. So outlandish means foreign, exotic, or alien, different, not from here.
Mm.
So first phase is like, as Christians, we are not from here, right? This is not our home. One day we're gonna go get to be in heaven with God forever. So it's like just being here in general, we're outlandish. The second fold is like in your faith, in your walk with Jesus, like be yourself.